Man, it's late. But I guess we'll do a show tonight. I've been trying to hold this off as long as I can, but I got a couple things to talk about, new premieres, and I guess we'll go ahead and do the True Blood finale.
Excellent strength and perfect clarity is the 5x5.
And you're listening to the Bite Me Cast.
When you came in, the air went out, and every shadow filled up with doubt. I don't know who you think you are, but before the night is through, I wanna do bad things with you, with you.
And that was Jace Everett with Bad Things from, you all guessed it, shouldn't even have to guess, you all know, the theme song to True Blood. And I had put this off for several weeks. The finale for True Blood this season, I think it was a couple of Sundays ago. And I was so mad at, not even mad, I was just upset about how it all went down. We were robbed. I know they've changed some writers, they've changed some production things, and the guy who's actually directing it, he changed. But from how they built the season up, it totally didn't end the way I expected it. But they don't pay me to they don't pay me to give them direction. Well, they should call me, because I could have told them how to end this. But like I said, I think we were robbed. The season finale to me was over it's like the first 20 minutes of the show. 20 minutes of the show was the season finale, and then the last remaining 40 some odd minutes, it was like a season premiere. We're going to talk about some season premieres, what's coming up on the Bite Me Cast for the fall of 2013. But real quick, just to go over some key points that happened in the season finale of True Blood. Sookie Ellenson, episode 9, she was trapped with, she was going to the funeral, or she was trapped with Warlow. He let her go to the funeral. She finds Jason, and the funeral was Terry Buffalo after he was shot by his friend. They just kind of let him go, which I was kind of upset about that, because he is such a, not really an integral part of the cast, but he was, his story fit with everybody else. But anyhow, Sookie goes to the funeral. They do all that. That was the episode prior to the finale. Then we see Sookie talking to Jason, because all the vampires that had drank Bill's blood was walking around acting crazy. And Eric had taken off, Pam and Tara, Violet, which is now has claimed Jason. They're all walking around in the sun because they have the blood that Bill had drank of Warlow's, which Warlow was that fairy vampire guy that was betrothed. So he figured to Sookie, and so Sookie and Jason have an exchange, and she tells him to be careful. The vampire chick, Violet, lays a big kiss on Anna Paquin's character, and on Sookie, and she just kind of looks at her crazy, and Sookie takes off to go back to Warlow, because she had promised that if he helped them, which he really didn't help them, Eric just happened to almost drain Warlow so he could go to the vamp camp and set all the vampires free. So it was kind of a Bill and Eric deal, but Bill was the one that ended up saving the vampires that were ready to be fried by Sarah Newland, if you remember that from the previous episode. Anyhow, like I don't want to draw this out because like I'm still kind of mad about it, and so when Suki gets back to Warlow, he has the whole fairy garden, whatever it is, all decked out, and Suki at that point, which I predicted this, she was going to change. She changed her mind, and not really changed her mind. She wanted to wait. She says she wants to date Warlow, which at the beginning of the series, you thought that this guy was going to be the one that's going to be for Suki. And but of course it didn't happen, and then he kind of cold cocks her like, you don't know who you messing with, you're gonna do this regardless, and he starts feeding on her. And then we see a scene where Bill and Jessica are talking, and Jessica wants Bill to go save Sookie because he knows that she's ready to be turned into a vampire. But they had to get Andy's daughter, which is the last remaining of his kids. You remember he had those 4 girls that Jessica killed 3 of them, and there's one left, and he named her Madeline because she's half human and half fairy, just like Sookie. So they find her because they need her to get into the fairy plane. They get in there. Eventually, there's Jason, Violet, Andy, Bill, and then Bill and Warlow have this big throwdown fight, and it kind of culminates. They get Sookie out of there, and it culminates in a house where, and I said this on the very first, I guess the very first show here on Spreaker about True Blood, that the grandpa, remember we seen the grandpa, we thought he was Warlow at the very, very beginning of the season opener. Grandpa grabs Warlow because when Warlow did not kill Grandpa in the Fairy King, didn't kill him like 4 or 5 episodes ago, I said then he's going to come back and he's going to be the one to stop Warlow from making Sookie a vampire, and then he actually jumps out of this wormhole thingy and he grabs him, and then Jason plunges a stake in his heart, and so he dies. The big thing about that is when Warlow died, the essence which made him a fairy that allowed the vampires to walk in the daylight also left him. And so all the vampires lose that fairy part of their blood, and consequently, Eric Northman is in Sweden on the highest peak on top of snow, completely buck naked. And if you guys remember when when that scene was shown the day after, everybody was going crazy because it was the first full frontal on True Blood since the series began. Because if you remember, or if you even not remember, if you know, True Blood has a lot of nakedness, has a lot of sex, but there was never any full frontal male genitalia shown on the screen, and this was the first time that it actually happened. So everybody went crazy, and like I said, I think Eric's a nice looking man, crazy nice body, very tall. But I'm like, it was just a penis. It wasn't all that big of a deal, and I guess it was okay. but then Eric starts to burn, and then you hear him yelling. And if you remember, Pam, this is what I'm predict for the season opener of the 7th season. Pam, because she left to go find Eric and told Tara to take care of Willow, which was happens to be, it was the governor's daughter, but it was only Eric's second progeny. And Pam didn't kind of, and I'm not a side screen. My friend Off Limits from the Off Limits show thinks I'm a side screen. Maybe I am. I'm a top though, so it shouldn't really matter, but it does. But Pam goes to find season opener for next year. I guess next summer. Pam was going to be the one. She's going to end up saving Eric somehow. She's going to do it. It's just I just know she's probably gonna be up under the snow digging, and she's gonna pull him down, and then he's gonna go heal somewhere, and then we'll see him again in the middle of the season. That's my prediction. I was right about Grandpa saving Sookie and Jason from Warlow. I'm gonna be right about this as well. But so then that's where it ends. That should have been the end. That was the finale. We had this great build up, the big fight between Warlow and Bill, Warlow and Sookie, Jessica, the vampires that walk in the daylight, and losing the essence, and then at the end, Eric burst into flames. But that wasn't it. They weren't done pissing me off. Then you have a black screen and it says 6 months later. I'm like, are you kidding me with this? Seriously? We just had the finale. Even though it was 20 minutes, y'all should have left it alone. But they didn't. So they went to a little future jumps, like whatever happened in those 6 months that we see Eric burning up. Because Eric was not in the last part of this episode. So we don't know his fate, but like I said, I predicted it already. Sookie and Alcide is together. Remember Alcide the werewolf? They're living together, shacking up or whatever you want to call it. Jason and Violet are together. Jessica, I can't think of her vampire boyfriend's name is. And then Sookie is watching Bill on TV, and I didn't write it down. But Bill has written a book about the vampires, and what he's the vampire king. They made him the king of Louisiana after Russell Edgington did he kill Russell Edgington? Somebody tweet me and let me know. After that, and then so Sookie's watching him on TV. He's giving some interview, and because the vampires are out of the closet, and now obviously Sam Merlot is the mayor of Bon Temps. How we even get there, and he's with the chick that was investigating him and want to not really expose him to share him being a shapeshifter and share the werewolves with the world, and all her friends got killed, and she ended up staying with Sam, and there's no more Merlots because the redheaded chick, I can't think of her name right now, Terry's wife, Arlene, she is now, it's called Burfler's something shop, restaurant, but she owns that now. But the whole deal now with the mayor, Sam Merlot, he's trying to, because all this stuff is going down. Remember the Hep V that the governor in the vamp camp, what killed Eric's sister, Nora, that has infected a lot of vamps. Because you remember in episode 9, when the trucks had already made it to the destinations, the True Blood was already infected with Hep V. So those vampires as almost having like rabies, I guess. I think that's how they put it on the show. And so they're hungry and they're going after everybody because it eventually kills them. But they're making a pact with the vampires, the humans. That's what they want to happen. Every human needs a vampire, so the vampire can get clean blood from a human host in exchange for protection. I'm like, this is the lamest storyline I've ever heard. Like I said, this show has been my life for the last 5 years, and now it's going on so crazy aspect of there's going to be a vampire for every household that allows that vampire to feed. And they was in the church talking about it. Then they had some kind of social saying this is what we need to happen. Bill wants to be the vampire to protect Sookie. Alcide, he's not having it. Tara's mother, Letty Mae, we all love Letty Mae. She wants Tara to be her protector, but they have from the onset, and so maybe Tara will have a bigger role in season 7, and then Letty Mae says she wants to feed her, and Tara does bite her and feeds her. Whether she's going to be their protector or not, we don't know. But then the last scene, as the show's kind of coming to the close, they're at the social and they're meeting a new vampire protectors to and meeting potential host families. You see all these Hep V infected vampires heading toward the social, and and that's where it ends. To me, that's a season opener. It wasn't really a season finale. They tried to leave some cliffhangers and make you wonder, but honestly, I didn't care. It left me not caring. So, but that's True Blood finale for season 6. I'm glad I got it out. It's out of my system. I don't have to worry about it no more. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
It's the 5x5 on Spreaker.
And we're back. That was Put the Needle Down by Alex Baroza. I found a really, really cool site for independent artists. And if anybody that's an independent artist wants to have their music played on the show, I would be more than willing to play your song. So give me a tweet or send me an email. The email is 5byyyfive@gmail.com. Oh, and really quick, today I was at Barnes & Noble, and the whole True Blood series was written, the books were written by Charlene Harris, and it was the Sookie Stackhouse story. So I think I'm gonna start reading those. I haven't decided. They're not a hard read. They're not very big. Paperback $7.99, and they have all of them at Barnes & Noble. You can check them out on barnesandnoble.com. And let's see. So now that we're done with True Blood, season premieres. The Bite Me cast, our show on the 5x5, is going to have so much stuff to talk about coming up. The first part of the season, we had True Blood and Teen Wolf and a little bit of Being Human, but now we're into the the fall premiere season for 2013-2014, and there's a couple of new shows, actually 3 new shows coming out, but then our old standbys. First of all, it's Walking Dead. Walking Dead will be back October the 13th. A lot of them are coming back in October, but we can wait because they want to kind of release this one around Halloween. But the season 4 premiere, like I said, October 13th, and I looked at the YouTube trailer, and this show is a monster, no pun intended. This show is huge. 5 million views compared to some of the other premiere trailers that only had, hundreds of thousands, nothing in the millions. But from what I've seen, and these guys, they're at Dragon Con, so all my AT aliens, sorry I couldn't make the Dragon Con this year. I have a ill parent that had a surgery this past Thursday, so I couldn't make it. Wish I was there. Hopefully I'll be talking to some of you guys when you get back home and settle down, and we'll have a couple of interviews to talk about, or even have on a live show here in the next week or so. But hope you guys are having fun. I did see a post. Somebody said that they just went to the naked superhero party. Can't wait for that. But we'll have the interviews on the Fanboy Weekly show here on Spreaker. But back to Walking Dead, it looks like they're trying to leave the jail because someone's sabotaging them from within. There's tons of zombies everywhere, and they're like, we have to run. And the one character that I have grown to like since season 1 is Carol. Remember, she was the battered wife, very mousy, but she's coming to her own because part of this trailer, you see her teaching the kids. You remember she lost her daughter. Her daughter ended up being a vampire in I'm sorry, I got triple in the brain. Ended up being a zombie on either. It had to be the finale of season 2, and because she was gone she was gone almost from the second, third episode to the end. She was gone all season. Then she ended up being a vampire at the farmhouse. A vampire, damn. I'm sorry. Zombie at the farmhouse. So Carol, she's developed into a strong character. I want her to get together with Daryl. Daryl's my second favorite. I'm over the sheriff at this point, but Daryl's my second favorite character. But what I like what they do with True Blood, Jesus, what they've done with The Walking Dead, you don't know who's safe. I was watching an interview with one of the newer cast members, and he was saying, we don't know from week to week who's going to die. Nobody's safe. Even the people have been here since day one. We lost T-Dog last year. We lost Lori. We lost the sheriff's wife, and she had the baby. This big characters that we see in the beginning, they're not making it. We lost Merle last year as well. They're not making it to the end of the year. So that's what keeps you guessing, like, who's going to die. It can happen in a split second. So we don't know what's going to happen this year, but October 13th, The Walking Dead will be back. I can't wait for it. Then that brings us to another event. Since I've been talking about vampires so much, the Vampire Diaries. It's coming back on October the 10th. And all I could get from the preview, because they're keeping it real hush-hush, from the preview that I seen, remember at the end of the last year, the Silas had Stefan as his, what do you call his dark double or ghost double or whatever it was, and Silas was the super witch that Bonnie kind of released, and then she died, but now the veil's up. And Jeremy's back, so I think he's going to stay on, but a whole lot of the dead people are there too in Mystic Falls. But Stefan was kind of outing himself, but it really is not Stefan. Stefan's at the bottom of the lake in a safe, and Silas has taken on his persona. Then we have to see, he's at this like stadium, and he's talking to the town, how much blood he's drunk, how much, drunk, how much blood he has drunk, and who he can influence with his power. So hopefully, because Bonnie's in the crowd and she's saying no, so I can't. I hope Jasmine Guy comes back this year. I love Jasmine Guy's portrayal as Bonnie's grandmother, and also we get to see Catherine on the flip side of being this, 100-year-old vampire. She's now human. 'Cause remember they shoved the cure in her mouth at the end of last season. So can't wait. And then the whole relationship between Damon and Elena, that should be interesting. Being human, not going to talk about that much. It got so dark and crazy. It was hard for me to watch, but it's not coming back to 2014. They wasn't sure it's going to come back, but it is coming back in 2014. I don't know. I think I'm going to drop this one. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Then we have probably my favorite out of all of the Bite Me Cast shows. It would be Supernatural. I've watched this show since its inception. Didn't know how well it's going to work. It's surprising that this show has made it to season 9. And I did some reading. They might even had a 10th year to finish off the series, which that could be kind of interesting after you go 10 years, but I don't know what else they can do. They it has a lot of religious undertones in it. I wouldn't say undertones, overtones. We'll see. Sam and Dean, the last picture we see is Metatron taking out what's his name? The angel, their friend. I'm so sorry. Taking out his essence and making him human again, and then kicking the rest of the angels out of heaven. Then you see all these angels with their wings burning off, falling to the ground. And then Sam didn't get to perform the last trial, so I kind of wait. This one I'm waiting for, and it's coming back on October the 15th. Three new shows. And they're keeping that too. I looked, intensely for something to tell me how Supernatural, the premiere for this season is going to start. Nothing. So I can't wait to the first episode because that's going to be better than True Blood. Anyhow, 3 new shows, which one, I don't know too much of. And Icon, you might like this. For all you Charm fans, we have another witch show coming out. And they tried it. You remember the Secret Circle? They did have a Witches of Eastwick show. None of them last. Secret Circle got 2 years. The Witches of Eastwick, I think it was canceled mid-season. Well, this is another Witches. This is called Witches of East End. It's on Lifetime, so it might be a little corny. But it's about a mother and 2 of her adult daughters that are going to be witches, and there's a sister. It's going to be on Lifetime October the 16th. They said it's getting a lot of buzz, so who knows? And then a spinoff from the Vampire Diaries is the Originals. You remember they had a episode called The Originals. It was like a backdoor pilot for the Originals spinoff of the Vampire Diaries. It comes out October the 3rd. It's going to be the story about Klaus and Elijah and the witches retaking over New Orleans from Klaus's progeny Marcel. So that's going to be interesting. I don't think Rebecca's going to join the original. We'll probably see some cameos, but she's going to stay in Mystic Falls right now. But which is really cool that this show, the new original show, is going to be based in Atlanta and New Orleans. So I thought that was kind of cool. And yeah, Icon was telling me that American Horror Story, they're getting another one. That's one I forgot about, Coven, which is also going to be based in New Orleans, and it's going to have a whole witches aspect to it as well. So I did look to see when that's coming back, but it's normally a later premiere, so I'm probably October, November. It's probably coming back, and then last but not least, September 16th is going to be the first of the show. So I'll go ahead and do this to our show start rolling in October. It's Sleepy Hollow. I don't know about this one. It looks big budget. It's going to be on Fox. It looks big budget. Everybody's trying to have the black girl though in the show, like like Scandal with Kerry Washington. It, there's a black, like Megan Good was in Deception, which I like Deception. It got stupid, but I was with it to the end. Everybody's trying to do it. So, and somebody, Icon said that American Horror Story is coming back in October. All right. So September 16th, the day after, we will have a Bite Me Cast show to tell you how that went. Thank you guys for listening. Quick show. I think we got to say everything I wanted to say, and we will see you next time.
Check us out on Facebook at The 5x5, or tweet us at The 5x5, or go to Recycle Blog Talk for past shows. Thanks for tuning in.